welcome to the Purlsbeforethyme knitting podcast. I'm Elise. So I've been really enjoying making these podcast videos. So I've been learning a lot about, podcasting in general. And so I've upgraded and I now have a microphone. So hopefully it all works out and the sound is a little bit better than before. So that's been a little adventure on its own, getting microphones and then the right extender cables and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully it's helpful. So I hope everyone's had a good week. I've had a really lovely time, a bit busy. So yeah, today the main focus I'm going to be talking about is what I've worn most knitwear wise in January. So January has been a bit mixed weather-wise. It started off very cold and then we had a bit milder weather and then we had a cold spell again with lots of snow, and then now it's above 0 again, so between 5 and 10, and it's been very nice. We had a lot of rain this week, so came home yesterday just completely drenched. So yeah, it's been a big mixed bag. So Norway's had a big storm this week, but where I live is out of the main area of that storm, so I'm really lucky that I haven't had, you hear all these things where like roofs have been flying off and stuff, so I've avoided that. Right, so in January I wore knitwear 62 times, and that includes all knitwear, so accessories, sweaters, you name it. And I tally everything on an app to count what I wear every time I wear something else. So the rule is that I can, once I've worn something once in a day, that counts. Okay, that's 1, but like if I go out again and I wear the same thing, it doesn't count as 2. So the maximum number of times I can wear something in a month, or in January, is 31. So yeah, the thing I wore the most in January, I wore 11 times, so on 11 different days. And that was my dip dye scarf. So this just sort of hangs in my entrance hall, and it's been the first thing I grab on the colder days when it's been snowy and windy. So it's very long. I think it's more than 2 meters. And it's all over linen stitch, worked flat. So you can see on one side it looks kind of woven, and the other side it's got this sort of bumpy texture, and both the ends have this sort of contrast color dip dye effect with little tassels. So this is one of my own designs, and what's very special with this design is it's the only design that I've ever had published in a book. This design, you can find it, it's now on Ravelry, you can just buy it straight from me as an individual pattern, but it was, and it still is, available as part of 52 Weeks of Easy Knits by Len magazine. So they have a really wonderful series of books called like 52 Weeks of, and I own, you can see I've got the shawl book here and I've got the 52 Weeks of Easy Knits. They also have 2 volumes of 52 Weeks of Socks. Said this before, I'm not a sock knitter, so that's not so interesting for me. And they also have now released 52 Weeks of Accessories, but I think they have other ones in the works, like 52 Weeks, I think it's of Chunky Knits or something. But what's really nice with 52 Weeks of Easy Knits is the patterns are very bright and colourful, but they are very accessible to beginner knitters. So I would definitely recommend, if you're starting out with knitting and you want things that are gonna look really good and look very put together, this book is really nice. And there's some really lovely designers as well in there. So this is my dip dye scarf. I normally just wrap it once around my neck, but I could probably do something a little bit more fancy if I wanted to. But I really love this. It's made in 2 strands of sandnesgarn børstet alpaca held together. The only thing that is a bit sad is both these colors of yarn have been discontinued since I made this. but they have wonderful colors in Busted Alpaca. Like, I think it's sad when Sunless Garn release colors every season and then very few of them stay around for more than a year. So I have a lot of things in colors that were only around for a year, and I'm like, oh, you know, I can't get that color again. So, but anyway, they always have very nice colors. So you just pick 2 colors that you like and you knit for a long time. And I saw someone had a project page for this on Ravelry, and I was just reading through their notes. And one of their notes was, God, this is getting tedious with all the knit stitch, and it really made me laugh. So yeah, worth it in the end, hopefully. But yeah, it does take a while, just working linen stitch flat for quite a while. So that was my most worn piece. Second most worn item is also one of my own designs. It's also a scarf, but yeah, this was for the less wintry, windy days, and just for when I wanted a little light, sort of tight thing around my neck. This is the Gaelle scarf. So it is an all-over cable scarf, and it has a built-in I-cord edge, which makes it very neat, and it helps it hold its shape a little bit so it doesn't like overstretch. And yeah, so you just start at one end and you have a cable pattern, and then you work your way down with increases and you get to a point, and then you just reduce down back to the same. So it's this symmetrical, beautiful scarf. It keeps its volume very well, which is very nice. My testers for this had a really good time with it. I think they enjoyed making it and they wear theirs. So if you are looking for a design that's, yeah, cute and easy to do, mine is in Lang Yarn's Cashmere Premium, but you don't have to use cashmere for this. You can use anything that is comfortable against skin, I guess, is what I would recommend. It doesn't pill at all, which is one really big advantage for this. But yeah, it took less than 2 balls of cashmere. So if you are looking to use a more luxury yarn for something, I think this is a really nice pattern. I often see people who like make a whole jumper in cashmere, and I'm like, wow, how much did that cost? It's quite overwhelming. So I think with luxury yarns, I tend to make smaller accessories that I use more often rather than bigger things. So that's second most worn. I wore that 6 times. And then third most worn is a tie between 2 things, and it's a tie between my beautiful Between Petals pullover, which I wore 5 times. I've already shown this on in previous videos, so I'm not going to be trying it on in this one. I think I wear it in my Nude video, if you want to go see that. So yeah, this is my Between Petals pullover by PetiteKnit. It is made in 2 strands of Nude held together, and yeah, very good for winter in Norway. So yeah, that's all I really have to say with that one. It's very well used. And then the other thing that I wore a lot was another one of my designs. So I'm not doing this to like promote my designs, but I do design things that I really do use. So yeah, so these are, I've shown them before because I finished them last year. But yeah, these are my Muirini mitts. They are also made in cashmere, but they take less than a ball of cashmere. So if you want a really nice handy project in cashmere or luxury yarn, this is great. It's DK weight and you can make 1 mitten in an afternoon very easily. They're not too difficult. And they have these beautiful scalloped edges at the top on the rib. And yeah, they're just very handy. I keep them often in jacket pockets. So if I get a bit chilly, put them on. They retain heat very well and I love them, so yay! So otherwise, I thought I would give you a little update on what I'm working on and how my plans for the year are progressing. So I've had a bit of a change of heart with my Gaelle cardigan, and that is that I'm going to just put that off till much later in the year, because one of my aims for this year was to make the Gaelle cardigan and also by Marie Wallin, and that's a steeked cardigan pattern. But I really do want to make it in the original yarn, which is Spindrift. And though there is one stockist that I know of Spindrift in Norway, they're not local to me, but they are regulars at knitting festivals, and they were at my local knitting festival last year, and that's in October. So I would much rather just wait until I can see the shades in person and, you know, decide. And already, since I've started thinking about the cardigan and planning it, I've had about 5 or 6 different color palettes that I really like. So I think what I'm going to do is just sit on those and just see if one of them really speaks to me, and if in like a month or two I don't like any of them, you know, then I need to rethink. So I think that's something that's going to be more of a long-term planning project. Yeah, so that's why I've put that one kind of on hold for now in my planning sessions. But the other thing that I said in my Nude video, I think, was that I really wanted to make the Nivalis wrap by PetiteKnit, and I really think that's very nice for Nude. And I thought I was gonna maybe get some new Nude in the February release, but the shades they're releasing for the Nivalis wrap, and like thinking about the Nivalis wrap in particular, they're not speaking to me that I want to make that wrap in any of those shade combinations. So I'm just going to wait till another release. There's always more. Just wait. Just need to be patient. So yeah, that's also going to be pushed down the line. But in the meantime, I have made a yarn purchase, and it's kind of yeah. So Woolen Twine Fiber Studio released a new collection with a new yarn type called Roots, which is a woolen spun yarn with beautiful shades, and also it's kind of made from local sheep breeds to her in Germany, and yeah, it's like a limited flock and all that kind of thing. And I was like, you know what, this is, instead of getting Nude, I'm going to get this for now. And I also have a pattern in mind for a shawl. So I said this year I want to do more shawls, and there's a pattern in actually 52 weeks of shawls called the Iney Shawl, and it is a colorwork shawl worked in 3 shades, and it's steeked. So I think before I work on a cardigan and steek that, I think a shawl is a good first try pattern. So I'm going to be making that, I think, when that comes. But first, I need to finish some WIPs. So on all my WIPs at the moment, it feels like I'm sort of stuck on Sleeve Island. So I have my 3 main WIPs at the moment are my Roots and Shoots, which is also a PetiteKnit pattern. So I have finished one sleeve, and then the other sleeve I have started, but it is taking a while. Like, I've put this aside because my next WIP has been going much faster. So a couple of weeks ago, I showed my Snowy Forest WIP, and at the time I'd only just finished the yoke cables. I hadn't even divided for sleeves. And in 2 weeks, I have finished the body and most of a sleeve, and I think by the end of today I can have finished this sleeve if I want to. So it's beautiful. I'm so excited for this to be done, and yeah, I think it's going to be a really cozy make. I think because we're coming to the end of the really cold winter, I might not wear it so much immediately because this one is quite chunky. My previous one was a little bit lighter because it wasn't in Aran tweed, it was just in tweed. Yeah, I'm very excited for this, and it's been really fun. And then my other WIPs, I've been kind of also trying to work on designs because I told myself this year I would also work on designs. So a while ago I showed you this little elephant that I'd made that I was really pleased with, and I said I was going to make improvements to the pattern and then test it again. And I have, but I did something a bit silly. So the pattern improvements I'm really pleased with. However, this one, to felt it, I threw it in a washing machine at 60 degrees. And then I felt it in the dryer before, and I thought it would give a similar result, and it really just didn't work. So I made this really cute pink elephant, which before it felted was very nice and beautiful, and it was exactly what I wanted it to be. Then I decided to felt it in the dryer, and it got this fuzzy texture that was a bit unexpected, and the shape isn't quite as nice as this shape. So what I might have to do is test it a third time by using the pattern for the pink one, but with the felting method of this one. So yeah, these are the same yarn, just different colors. And this one I haven't fully, because this one I sort of sewed the ears onto and stuffed the trunk a bit more. But overall you can see this little guy is looking a bit different, and the body is a bit funny, and the pleat looks a bit odd. So third time's the charm with these things. So I'm sorry the light just suddenly went, like clouds are back. So hopefully the lighting is still okay. And then finally, my last WIP is also a design, and it's one I started last year. And it is something I'm very proud of, and yeah, it is a cardigan. So I've done quite a lot on this recently. The local knitting shop in town here does a collaboration with our local cinema, and once a month they put on a thing called knitting cinema, or strikkekino, and that means that you can, once a month they put on a movie in like the fancy viewing room where you have recliners and stuff, and you get to watch a movie, but they don't put the lights all the way down, so you can still see your knitting, and that's really fun. It sells out super fast in like, oh, it's snowing, okay. So it sells out in like 10 minutes, and I got to go this week, and I was working on this. So I did maybe a couple of centimeters on the body, and then now I'm on the bottom rib of the body. And this cardigan is going to be in the same series as my little mittens that I showed you just now. It's going to be called the Muirini cardigan. So the idea for this is that it's along the bottom rib, it's going to have scalloping, and also along the button bands and the sleeve cuffs. So yeah, you can picture that, like, if you can see this kind of scallop shape, it's going to be the same technique used on this all the way around. It is a time-consuming technique. I haven't seen it used anywhere else. It's a technique that I've kind of, I won't say come up with in case someone else has done this before, but I have not seen this in a pattern anywhere. I've seen other scallop methods, but it's not the same way that I do it. So I'll make a tutorial video for it and stuff. I'll make it open as well, so I'm not going to just restrict it to people who buy the patterns and stuff. So that's the plan. I will be running a contrast colour along the scalloping because I think it just adds a little bit of like pizzazz, I guess. I don't know what contrast colour I want. I am thinking like a red or a sort of orange maybe. That would be quite nice. Or maybe even green, but I want it to be nice looking. Maybe I'll do a test of different colours and see. So yeah, what's nice about this cardigan that I'm very fond of is it's got low positive ease. So it's only got 5 to 10 centimeters of positive ease, so it's relatively fitted. And the shoulder is quite sort of sculpted, so it fits around your shoulder quite snugly, but not too snugly. And yeah, I decided not to scallop the neckband because I think it might be too much scalloping in the end. But I might write a pattern modification if you do wish to scallop it. But I still have to finish this. It's going to take a while. Finish a sleeve, decide what kind of sleeve I want. I think I kind of just want a straight sleeve with maybe a slight balloon effect, but nothing too crazy. And then a little tight cuff because I like a tight cuff. Yeah, so this has still got a long way to go before I'm ready to test it. So I need to finish mine, but hopefully my plan is in the next couple of weeks to finish one of these, draft this out. I've got most of it graded. I've been grading as I go. So hopefully once I've finished my sample, it won't be too long before I can put a testicle out. But yeah, so I've been doing lots of things, but I haven't finished all that much. but that happens sometimes. I haven't finished a single thing in January yet, so, well, in 2024, but that's okay. So anyway, that's all I really have to say this week. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Yeah, I'll be back next week. I'm thinking about several ideas I have for videos and I can't decide between them. So yeah, I'll just sit on that for a while. But anyway, what are you guys working on? Have you got some sleeve islands issues, or are you just, you know, monogamous knitters who have one project at a time? Because I wish I were that. I'm not. Okay, bye.